Good afternoon. It's summertime. It's your time. Time without school, time without boring lesson, time for the rest and have fun. So, during this year, there is always not enough time to do everything you really want. What takes the most of your time? Can you type in chat what things take the most of your time? So is it studying? Is it sleeping, eating, maybe even daydreaming? So as for me, for instance, I've recently moved to another place. So to get to work, it takes me about 4 or sometimes even 5 hours. And it just kills all my free time. So do you think that it's tremendous and horrible to spend so much time on public transportation? So if yes, type yes. If no, no. And tell me, please, how much time did you spend on the longest journey in your life? So how was it? Was it awesome? Was it disgusting? And how did you feel? So in chat, please type how much time have you spent on your longest journey? Is it 20 hours, 25, 40? I don't know what. And how did you feel? Yeah, so homework, eating, driving to school. Okay, do you drive to school on your own? Or maybe your parents did it? Get to school? Well, okay. So, how do you make the most of your time to make sure that you are working efficiently? To most of us, it seems as if there is never enough time in the day. However, we all have 24 hours in a day to accomplish our tasks. And some people are exceptionally good at it, while others struggle to meet the deadlines. Why is that some people use their time more efficiently than others? The answer is simple. It lies in effective time management. So this is the topic, and this is what we will speak today with you. As for our agenda, the plan, what we will do, first of all, we will start with a discussion, and then we look closer at the notion like time management techniques. We will practice prioritizing tasks using the Eisenhower box, and also you will find out more about procrastination. Before we start talking about time management, let's study this statistic that has a group of French scientists have come up with the statistic on how an average person spends 70 years of their life. And we will see where time flies. So, as you can see on the slide, it's 24 years people in average spend on standing and 23 on sleeping. Quite surprising and so much. Sitting takes us 17 years, walking 16 years, working from 8 to 9 years, eating 6-7 years, seeing dreams 4, taking public transportation 6 years in general, and a little bit more it's talking and listening of conversation of others, so it's 2 years. Nowadays we don't watch TV quite often, but we watch some videos on YouTube and it also counted. So in general, people spend approximately 6 years on it. Laughing takes us 625 days. We spend 560 days for cooking approximately the same for having a rising nose, floating, shopping. By the way, do you think who spends the most time on shopping, girls or men? So type in the answers who spends the most time for it, for shopping, girls or boys. So 420 days we spend being sick and 375 days celebrating holidays. We can spend filling our documents, reading, and talking on the phone from 305 to 180 days. And also interesting fact that for getting dressed, men spend 177 days and women spend plus 2 years. Yes, in chat you all type that girls spend the most time. Definitely, I agree with you. It's not according to the statistic, but to our personal experience. We, in general, spend 108 days for combing hair, brushing our teeth, 92 days, crying, sometimes happens, 50 days, and checking time at approximately 3 days. So these data are taken from the magazine Science and Wear. And now we will discuss the time management, the meaning and the definition of it. So here you can see on the slide, two definitions. Time management is the process of planning and exercising control over the amount of time spent on specific activities in order to increase productivity and effectiveness. So to explain it better, we must understand that time management is, in simple words, the process of organizing and planning the amount of time we want to divide between specific activities. So effective time management is about spending the right time to the right activity. To do it, we need to know some time management techniques. These are the tools and rules to follow to organize your time most effectively. So, what time management techniques do you know? Are there any ideas? I want you to answer 2 questions. First of all, are you good at managing your time effectively? Why not? So I think if you are aware of some techniques and use them, it's possible to organize and manage your time effectively. And what are your personal secrets of good time management? So is there something that helps you, for instance, to do the home task as quickly as possible, or the things you don't like? So sure, as you've mentioned earlier, who spends the most time for different activities, it's not only girls, but it might depend on a person and not on a gender itself. The same here. As for time management, you can choose something personal for yourself, what suits you best. But there are some general techniques that helps practically everyone, and we will find out more about them. So the first time management technique is Eat That Frog. So this is a technique that Brian Tracy presented to us. It means do the most unpleasant and or complicated task first. So, as a rule, we don't like doing the things that are difficult or that is not interesting to us, and we just put them at the last place. We do something that's interesting and then the rest. And we don't have time for this difficult task. So here Not only your parents can help you to manage your time, but you can do it on your own. At the frog, it starts with the unpleasant thing. Can you type either you think that this technique is a good idea? So, does it work for you personally? Can you imagine you starting from doing, for example, the most difficult home task instead of having a rest after school? And will you complete the task quickly? So, in chat, write down, does you use this technique and will it work for you? So I can see that you are good at managing your time, yeah, because you have some plans. Some of you don't have any secrets. Good. And you should do the hardest work firstly. Yes, you're quite right. So this is the same as eat the frog, the technique that you've mentioned. Now we will move to one more technique. It calls task batching. Do you have any ideas what it is? Batching. Have you heard this word? Let's first look at the meaning and then we discuss it more properly. So, task batching, it's to find more activities you can stack, write down all your general activities for the day and week, and identify the ones that can be batched together. So batch together activities, it's, for example, when you need to clean the house, you can batch together sweeping the floor, washing the dishes, and what else? Maybe washing your clothes. These activities are also may get together. Or when you do your home task, you can bunch together all the reading activities, read the text from the foreign literature, text in English, and maybe in any other language. So these activities that are similar, because when you work in a group, for example, and you have similar activities, similar tasks, it's easy for you to complete them quicker. You can work together, discuss, and move from one thing to another that is in the same topic, the same idea. Also, you can try the batch of a couple of times and rearrange tasks if necessary. So it doesn't matter either you start with swapping the floor or washing the dishes. So you choose this order for yourself. What will be first, second, third, and the rest. So what do you think about this management technique? Have you ever used it? And does it work for you? So as for the previous technique, it's the frog. I can see the comment that I don't use it because it's killing my motivation to do everything. So when you can't overcome the most difficult tasks, there is no desire to move forward. Okay, I can understand. So it's about prioritizing. Yeah, what should we do first? Great comment. So as for batching, you don't make a list of your work because it spends time. So you economize time, even not to write, but to think about it, how to do it. Good. Also maybe as a kind of technique, keep everything in your mind. Now let's move to another one. It's Pomodoro technique. So here you can see a Pomodoro with some numbers, 35, 30, 25, 20. What might it be? What is the meaning of these numbers? So yeah, sure. This is a kind of clock and the time you can spend it, just like a timer that you set for yourself to complete the task. Let's look closer on it. First of all, you need to decide on the task to be done. So what task do you want to do the first? Then you set the timer. It is recommended to set 25 minutes as it is treated that during this time you can complete any task, no matter either it's easy one or maybe a little bit more complicated. When you choose the task, if it's easy, you can take, for instance, 5 minutes, and then you start working. But the most problem is not to choose the task properly, how many minutes do you need for this task, but not to be distracted during the task that you are doing. For example, your mother can ask you to do. You can get a call from your friend with invitation to go to a party, to go somewhere. And it's all our distractions. And when you just ignore all the sounds, maybe actions that other people do and concentrate it only on the task, that saves your time. After it, what do you think? For instance, you spent 5 minutes, the task was easy, you're not tired, you're satisfied. Do you need to take a break? Is it obligatory or you can skip it? If you think that break is needed, is obligatory, send plus. If you think that you can do without it, send minus. And then we will check who is capable of working without breaks. So if you think that you don't need short break between these activities, you might be wrong. Because when you change from one activity to another, first of all, you get energy, you're not tired and the task doesn't seem boring to you. And also you can do during this break the activities that usually distract you from the work. Answer the phone calls, maybe go and drink water, whatever you need. Yeah, I can see there are a lot of pluses and some minuses. Good. And when you've done 4 Pomodoros, so 4 activities with this short break, it is recommended to take a longer break, approximately from 15 to 30 minutes, not to think about these activities at all. And it's even possible that when you finish doing the activity, if it's a creative task, for instance, while you were sitting and thinking about the idea, there wasn't anything. And when you just change the activity to another, you can get some bright ideas, something that will help you to solve the problem. When you, for instance, do another activity and you have your ideas, it might be thinking as multitasking. Yeah, you do some physical exercises and think mentally. So do you think that multitasking is a good idea? Usually we've heard do not multitask. When you eat, put your phone away. Or when you're at a lesson, yeah, concentrate only on one thing, do not answer the messages. But is it possible that multitasking is a good idea? And what is it about? So if you think that it's possible to use multitasking wisely, write yes. If you think that it's a bad idea, type no. Good. Now let's look closer. How is it possible to use it wisely? Multitasking is normally considered less efficient than single tasking because the brain needs time to adjust when navigating different tasks. So what is adjust? Do you have any ideas? Adjust means to get used to the thing, to the activity that you do, to understand what you are doing, maybe even to use to the new activity when you think about the process, and then it's not something new, but something you've done before. If we're talking about navigating different tasks, It's managing, choosing which task you will do first, in what way, and why. Also, multitasking is known as switching the tasks, switching the activities, and is what actually make you tired and unproductive, not the tasks themselves. So it means that when you start, for instance, literature, you've read the half of the text, then you start doing the presentation, you made 3 slides and move to another task. You did, for instance, German language or French language only at a half. So you feel really tired because you've done a lot, but you can't see the result because you haven't finished any of these 3 tasks or 4, 5, it doesn't matter. That is why it's treated as unproductive when you switch from one task to another. But if we are talking about strategy, wisely multitasking, we can use any buffer time to have for good. Buffer time, it's time when you do some activities, but in fact, there is no energy to spend of it, and you don't need to think, to do something with your hands. For example, you travel by public transport, from one place to another. It might take you either 20 minutes or 4 hours, it doesn't matter. What can you do during this period of time? You can read a book, you can play mobile games, maybe do the home task if it's comfortable for you. You can listen music, no matter. So this time when you're in your road is called buffer time. The same when you wash dishes. So you can think at the same time, you can listen, you can speak. That means that listen to an audiobook while cleaning the house. You can answer emails while eating or having meals and other things. So how to combine these ideas, it's up to you. If it's easy for you, you can do both. And if you can't multitask wisely, it's better to concentrate on one thing only. So tell me, please, is this time management technique suits to you? Have you done something similar before? So some of you mentioned that when you're multitasking, you can't concentrate. But if it doesn't need to spend a lot of energy on it, you don't need to think, to concentrate, can you multitask? Are you good at it? Great. So to understand what should we do first, not to multitask all the time, we need to prioritize the task. The best way to do it is the Eisenhower box. Have you heard about it earlier? I think you did. Maybe not as for the task, but when you see how it looks like. First of all, let's find out more information about Eisenhower method. So, the Eisenhower matrix is one of the best time management techniques. It was developed by the Dwight David Eisenhower and he was the 34th president of the USA. And also he was a military officer. So as we know, all the presidents, military people and workers, they need to complete a lot of things and to make the priority, because acting on the spot without thinking is not a good idea. So analyzing the organization of his time, Eisenhower came to the conclusion that important things on his to-do list are rarely urgent. So what is urgent? For example, if you need to do something fast, you don't have time, this is urgent. And while urgent things on his to-do list are rarely truly important, so you can do it at any time, it doesn't matter, it's not urgent. If you need to do it right now, it's urgent. So the apparent importance of some urgent things to do happen because we simply do not plan to carry them out earlier, thus running them into urgent. So, for example, just 2 days ago, my mother called me and asked me to find the phone number because she called to this person 2 days ago and she just can't to find it in her mobile phone as she has a lot of numbers, and she decided that it would be easy for me just search it in Google and find the site where I found that number. So actually it takes a lot of time, as you might understand, and easy just to look at her mobile phone. But no. And I decided that I don't want to do it now. So it was urgent, in fact, because she needed it right now. But as I was lazy, I haven't started doing this activity. I thought, okay, I will lay a little bit and then I will find. Just in 2 minutes, she called me back and said, you don't need to look for it, I found. And I decided, okay, good. So I haven't done anything, but the problem was solved on its own. So the task was urgent and it seems to be important, but in fact, there is no necessity for me to do anything. So I haven't spent my energy and the task was completed. So where do you think in these 4 quadrants on the slide we can put my story? Is it the first quadrant, which is important and urgent? Second quadrant, that is important, not urgent. Third, not important, urgent. Or fourth, not urgent, not important. So if I haven't spent any energy and the task was solved, so was it really important and urgent? Where should we put? Please type in chat the number. In what quadrant should I put this kind of calls from my mom? First, second, third, or fourth quadrant. And then at the end, when we will find out more about each quadrant, I'll tell you the answer, or you can even guess on your own. So, in order to quickly determine the importance and urgency of current task, Eisenhower proposed a simple matrix with 2 characteristics. So these characteristics are urgent and not urgent, tasks that should be done fast or not fast, and important, not important. The first thing you have to learn is how to correctly prioritize your task. As you see, the matrix is divided into 4 quadrants and 2 axes of importance, 2 axes of urgency. Certain tasks fit into each of them. Yeah, as you now type, so you've typed 3, 3, 3, third, 3, probably 3. Okay. So certain type we can put in different, maybe in the first, maybe in the third, by how to understand it correctly. We need to follow the components. If we are talking about the first one, do it now. Tasks that are important and urgent. Perfect time management means that this quadrant will be empty. So no need to complete any task here. And this is due to the fact that with the proper prioritization and timely execution of the task, so execution means when you complete, when you do the task itself, there will be simply no things left for this quadrant. This can only be normal from time to time, but the contrast house in what you have to do this is a sign of disorganization. If you have some tasks here, you haven't organized your process carefully before. It is important to have as few tasks in this quadrant as possible. If something important becomes urgent, you start panicking and thinking about time instead of thinking how well you can perform the task. So, for example, if we take the test, yeah, at your school, at academy, the end of the test, it doesn't matter. You have the limit of time, let it be 1 hour, and the test itself is important because you want to get high mark for it. Definitely you are in stress, you start panicking, and you don't think about the task, you think about the time, that after this time you can't change anything. And this is the thing that you will put in number 1, because you are nervous and stressed. So better to avoid it, and only some tasks can go to this quadrant because they are really serious emergencies and you can't avoid them, you can't prevent, forecast, so no choice for you, you have to do it. When we move to the second quadrant, it's important but not urgent task. The highest priority tasks are located here. So it's necessary to pay maximum attention to the task from its quadrant. Experts say that people who work specifically with quadrant 2 achieve greater success in life and achieve their goals. They earn more money and do what they love and enjoy. Why do you think it happened? Now, I think because it's not urgent task, so you have a lot of time. The same with the test. When you have 1 week, you have the task, and it doesn't matter. You can start on Monday, finish on Friday. You just complete it. It's important, and you did your best. But there is one problem. If you haven't completed it in time, you had the whole week, and you just recollected about it at the last day of it. So it sure will go from quadrant 2 to quadrant 1. Since there is no urgency, there is no panic. So that is why the performance of your task is high. And this is in its turn contributes to high efficiency and productivity. So in result, you will have good mark or achieve high maybe mark as well. Or you can make some mistakes, yeah, but it's not about the time at all. However, you shouldn't forget that when you do it late, it means late execution, late performance of the task, this just moves to the first, and you are again at the stress position. Now we will move to the third quadrant, urgent but not important. All these tasks here are usually a distraction, so they don't play any important role in terms of achieving goals and do not lead to any result. Often they are only interfere with focusing on truly important tasks, and they reduce our effectiveness when we spend time on it. When we're working with this matrix, the main thing is not to confuse them from quadrant 1 and third, yeah, because they're too close in their meaning. Otherwise, there will be a confusion in priority. You will do the wrong task first. Quadrant 3 also can include the tasks connected with different spontaneous meetings or events, spontaneous calls, yeah, household choices that arise suddenly. Since things from this quadrant only slow you down and steal your time, try to devote them a minimum time of your life. But sometimes you can do them. And does it suit my story to this quadrant? Yes, all of you guessed, definitely it was from quadrant 3. And what might be in the quadrant 4? In 4, it's not urgent, not important. So, is there a benefit to do these tasks? Absolutely no. But will you be satisfied? Will you be happy if you do it? Yeah, you might be. Even if you don't do them at all, it will be better. when you haven't started these tasks. But in this quadrant, you have the most interesting things, the things that attract you. It includes some pleasant things, tasks you want to work, but there is no need in it. It's also about relaxing, about pleasure. And it's sometimes difficult to reject doing them, not to do. And this quadrant includes phone calls with friends and relatives, social networks, surfing the internet, computer games, watching TV, and the rest. So now we will move to some questions that help you to understand how to prioritize these activities in a wise way. To determine how important each task is, you need to ask two questions. The first question is this task necessary to achieve my big goal? And the answer might be yes or no. For example, if you answer the first question, no, it's not important. And for the second question, if I don't do it, will it have any serious negative consequences for me? You will have answer yes. So what do you think? Is it important or not important if you have only one yes? If you think that it's important with one yes, send plus. If you think that it's not important, set minus. So, yeah, you are sure this is important, even with one yes. It's really important for us to do it. If we're talking about urgent and not urgent thing, there is one more question. If the task is not completed now, will it still be relevant in some time? So the same answers yes, it means not urgent, and no, it's urgent. Then let's move to the examples that are given. Important and urgent, crying baby. So it's important and urgent because we can't stand it. It's disturb us and we need to act quickly just for baby not to cry. If the kitchen is on fire, we also need to put off this fire. Otherwise we won't have our home still. And also some calls. If these are calls from your boss, from your parents, sometimes they might be important. If we're talking about second one, exercises, so you can do them at any time, maybe in the morning, in the evening, no matter, but they're important for our health. The same as vacation, it's important for our mental state to have a rest, but no matter when you take it. And planning, you can do it at any time. Not important things are interruptions, distractions, and other calls. If we are talking about quadrant number 4, trivia things. So trivia things, it's basic things that brings pleasure to you, but nothing special about it. Busy work and time wasters, like playing computer games, for instance. For someone, it might be really time waster, but at the same time, we can put it into quadrant 1 and quadrant 2. If you need to write an article about a new game, definitely first you should play this game. When you play this game, you are happy, you are satisfied, and you like what you're doing. So it's not only time waster, but it helps you to get the material for your article. So you are working. And if you need to pass this article just in an hour, it's important and urgent. If you have a long time, it doesn't matter when you play this game. It might be in second quadrant. Now, your task, make a list of 10 things that you are planning to do during next week. We will do it in the following way. Each of you send me one activity that you will do next week. So it might be anything. Go into the swimming pool, playing tennis, chatting with friends, visiting cafes, cooking something. So any activity. And after that, we will try to make together this Eisenhower box to complete it. I will try to guess either this activity that you've sent to me seems the same as you think, and if I put it to the correct quadrant. So please send me your activities and we will move forward. So activity like dancing. If this is a training and you have a competition, so it might be either important and not urgent or important and urgent. Yeah, if you have your training in 5 minutes, it's very urgent. Running, the same as sport exercises. Number 2, you can do it at any time if it's not a competition. If we're talking about solving problems, with solving problems, there are 2 ways. Either you should think properly what to do, or you just act on the spot. When it's fire, for instance, you don't have time to think. So it's important and urgent, depends on the kind of problem. So what else do we have? Visiting grandma. So it might be for you important, yeah, but not urgent if there is no special time. Hanging out with friends might be, okay, either important, not urgent, or if your friends called you and say that you need to go right now, it would be urgent and maybe not always important if you have things that are in priority higher stance. So other sport activities like playing football, do housework, meeting with friends might be in number 2 or 3, depends on you. Pack a suitcase. If you have a flight, it might be urgent and important. Depends how long you wait for it. Pass an exam. If we have a date, also important and not urgent. Yes, there are a lot of other activities like walking, meeting friends, playing in ukulele, if I'm not mistaken with pronunciation, and riding a bicycle. Good, thank you for your participation and ideas. And now we will move to procrastination. So this is, what is it, by the way? Have you heard this word? Are you good at procrastinating? So this slide shows you a great illustration what the procrastination is. I will find the picture for it later. So it's not because I was lazy and decided not to find a picture from you, but this is a meaning of procrastination, avoiding the tasks that need to be done, the practice of doing more pleasurable things in place of less pleasurable. So it means that when you have the task to complete and you don't want to do it, you can do any other things and just saying, oh, sorry, I don't have time. I need to do this, and that. But in fact, you just do all these activities not to do the real task because you don't want. But when you complete this task that was difficult, you can feel instant gratification. What is it? Gratification. So it's the same as satisfaction. When you are happy, you are proud of what you've done, and it helps you to be productive and to work more, do other things, even if you don't like doing it or don't want. Now answer some questions. What do you most often procrastinate on and why? What is your favorite way of procrastinating? So sometimes I procrastinate on preparing lessons, because it takes a lot of time. And my favorite way is cleaning the house, washing the dishes. And yesterday, for instance, I answered all the messages that I had in Telegram, just not to do what I should do. And if we're talking about 3 most important things in our experience to overcome procrastination and start doing something, what might it be? As we've learned earlier, it might be Pomodoro technique. So we set the time and there is no choice, we should complete it. So for you, for example, if it's home task, it might be the next lesson because you can't do it later. And write down in chat the answers to these 2 questions. What do you most often procrastinate on and your favorite way of doing it? And 3 most important things to overcome procrastination and start doing something. While you are typing these ways of overcoming procrastination, I will tell you about the Zeigarnik effect. This is also one more way how to overcome the procrastination. And then we will choose either you have some similar ideas to this way, or maybe your ideas were even better. So, this is the most effective way to fight procrastination, and it is called the Zeigarnik effect. It suggests that not finishing a task creates mental tension. Mental tension means that you're worrying about it, you can't stop thinking about it, and it makes you nervous and uncomfortable. So this mental tension keeps it at the forefront of our memory, always in our mind. And only thing that will relieve this tension is the closure brought by the completion of the task. So closure is, for instance, when we close the door. You can't go through it if the door is closed. If we're talking about closure in our mind, we have a barrier between these thoughts, ideas, and our mental state. When we close the task, when we complete it, it means that the task is finished. So you might be happy, free, and do whatever you want. Everything genius is simple. The phenomenon proposes that making a start on something, no matter how big or small, keeps it tweaking away at the back of your mind until you reach the end. So, no matter what you need to do, just get it started and your brain will not let you procrastinate anymore. So sometimes we can't decide what should we do. Or maybe starting to do it. We are not brave enough if the task is difficult, and we put it for the later times. But when you start this activity and you understand that it might be difficult but interesting, you know that you can cope with it, it will bring benefits and you already do it. So nothing that may be fear here. And it doesn't make you continue to procrastinate. So you just do the task without thinking about anything else. So let's look at your favorite ways of procrastination. Playing video games, doing sport, computers, drawing. What else? Recording videos of YouTube and at the same time play at them. But recording videos on YouTube also takes a lot of energy from you, so it's not only the procrastination. But if you have some tasks that are higher in priority, it's definitely not the thing that it is recommended to do. So usually these are the things that we enjoy doing, yeah, no matter hard them or not. Like playing the piano, for someone it would be the most difficult thing, as for me, because I can't play the piano, and for another person it just something pleasurable, something we will satisfied. Reading books, it's also might be complicated for one people, and for others just kind of spending free time. Good. So during the today's lesson, oh, you also mentioned watching Netflix. So do you watch it in English or in Russian? If it's in English, you can combine two ideas, yeah, learning English and watching something you like. So it might be even not the procrastination, but studying process. And sometimes even watching in our natural language, first language, helps us to learn more about the world itself. So during the today's lesson, we've covered four things. We've discussed what the time management is, what time management techniques are, and also how to prioritize the task. I think that you were good at it and now you know even more about it. So please type, do you need to draw these four quadrants to divide the activity? Or it's easy for you even not to spend time on it. You can keep it in your mind and just organize it properly without writing. So if you need to write and draw this quadrant, put plus. If you don't need, put minus. Good. So, and also we've discussed what the procrastination is. Now I want to talk with you about the prioritizing task. How do you usually do it? So if you don't draw, do you write some plans, or maybe some of you keeps in mind? Yeah, good. Are there any plans that you write? Do you have a diary? Someone yes, someone no. Good. Also, how do you limit your distractions? So when your younger sister or brother asks you from someone and you are busy, how can you act in this situation? Will you answer, or you just tell that you don't have time? What are possible ways of limiting the distractions? Write it down, please, in chat. Usually it is treated than some distractions and disruptions are everywhere. So it's impossible to limit them if you are doing the task. But there are some ways how to concentrate and develop the skills and emphasize only on your ability, what you do. So, for example, when my desk is messy and cluttered, it can be difficult to focus on the work, and I can't be as productive as I always am. Each morning when I just arrive at work, it takes me up to 5 minutes or even more to clear all the things from the desk if I haven't done it after the masterclass, for example, or it's better to do it at the same time. And it also helps us not to be distracted with all things when there are a lot of small pieces of things on the table or in your room where you really work. So also you can make a to-do list. You can prioritize what you should do and concentrate only on these things. So there are a lot of activities, and try what do you usually do. So when you are distracted, you say that you are busy and will help later. Yeah, it's a good idea. You might be polite and just tell the truth. You will answer, not ignore. Also good. I usually say I'm busy. Someone will help. Yeah. And if you help, do you prioritize the task as well? That help would be more beneficial for you, just doing the task you are concentrated. Is it also about prioritizing? Or it just the question of being polite and not to insult the person? Someone will even start yelling. So I think start yelling, it's when you are doing the activities from the quadrant 1, yeah? When you are nervous and don't have time for small distractions. Good. Now let's move a little bit further. There is a thing to remember. Stop saying I don't have time, and very soon you will realize that you have time for almost everything you see fit to do in life. So is there anything that you would like to do, but you always say that I don't have time for it? So as for me, I would like to pass one of the Cambridge exam. But for a long period of time, I've thought that I don't have time for preparation. But in fact, if to organize everything properly, there will be always an opportunity to do it. The same with other languages. So what are the things that you would like to do? And with these techniques, can you organize and manage it properly? So for example, trying new sport activity. Yeah, for sport, good. So is it extreme kind of sport, something new, or just having regular exercises? Because sometimes it's not easy to do the sport activities maybe each day, or 3 times per week, not even saying about the new kind of sport and activity. So to read more, it's really good idea. I think that summer is a good opportunity to start doing the things that you've never had time before. And also, I would like to recollect you and remember that you have 2 home tasks on the platform, each week that you need to complete. And each task you will get on Monday and Tuesday. And our webinars will be each Thursday at 1 hour, 1 p.m. So if you have any questions as for the webinars or maybe for the task, you can always send me messages on the platform and I'll try to answer them. All your home tasks, I will check each day in the evening. So if you send it today, tomorrow you will for sure get your mark. So are there any questions? So if you are, I'm open for it. So take your time and practice time management. See you soon. Thank you for the lesson, and I wish you to have a great summer and great prioritization of your task. Bye.